Mini camp is officially a wrap, but the Commanders keep making headlines. Ron Rivera has officially been fined. The Chase's recovery timelines are a little bit more clear. Training camp is also officially no longer in Richmond. A Hall of Famer spotted in Ashburn, and we cap off the show with an all-time great Redskins and a great interview with former linebacker Ken Harvey. And, of course, we've got some Madden 23 talk on our hands to kick off the show. But, of course, welcome to the Sidelines Washington Podcast, where we take command for the SSN. Of course, I'm your host and head of NFL Operations, Parker Hamlett. If you're watching us in YouTube, realm, make sure you guys subscribe and turn on notifications, like I said in the intro. If you're listening to us in the audio realm, whether it be Apple, Spotify, Google, make sure you guys leave us a rating and a review. They do add up, and they are appreciated. But I know I said we're capping off the show with our exclusive interview with Ken Harvey, but I did not come alone today, because joining me for the first time in a very long time, just like last week, is a very special guest. This guy keeps it real. He's a co-host on the Command This podcast, as you can see in his background. Dev. Honestly, Dev, I expected to wax you in Madden like last time, but I properly got mopped, and now I'm sitting here drinking my sorrows away. How have you been, my friend?
He did not get mopped. He lost by like 6 points, and he had the ball on the 5-yard line, and Chase Young did some weird sack glitch over another guy for me to win. But I will take it. The champion, I feel like Ric Flair. Woo! You look at that.
1-1 all time. Hey, it was a lot better than the Kyle Allen Taylor Heineke Bowl we had last time. And we don't really talk about Madden on the show a lot here, but I mean, I'm an avid Madden player, so I thought another avid Madden player would join me. Dev hooked the boy up, got me a beta code, and we got our first game. And today, my first full game, actually. Dev's been wiping people all weekend, and it definitely showed. But Madden 23 in general, obviously, we can't share you guys with any gameplay because it's the beta, still in development, stuff along those lines. Of course, they extended it an extra week. Cool to see some of the other game modes as well probably coming to the front. It was our first look, in game of course, the new name, the new logo, the jerseys. Got a kind of a feel for some of the new players. You got Jahan Dotson, new and improved offensive line with the veterans at guard. Carson Wentz, who had a tale of two games for you and me separately. But what have you made of Madden 23 so far? Have you enjoyed it? Obviously, you're a longtime player like me.
First of all, those black uniforms are pretty nice in the game, I think, personally. I actually have one of those, by the way.
Really?
I started to wear it today.
Why not? You didn't rock it for the show? What? We were talking about last week.
I think my girlfriend threw it in the laundry. I actually took a quick over in the closet, and I couldn't find it. I was like, I just throw this on.
Oh, we got to see it. You have it? Could she grab it so we can see it on the show? I got to get a look at it.
I don't know where it is. Before the show's up, I'll try to find it. It's definitely pretty cool, but I definitely have it. I've worn it on a Toothpick show, I think, once.
Yeah, I remember that. That wasn't too long ago. But I mean, the black uniforms, of course, I rocked the black. You rocked I think it was the white jersey and gold pants. And man, there's just all types of different combinations of uniforms that you can do with this Commanders team in Madden 23. And, what were some different looks you kind of did when you kind of had, free access to kind of mix it up and do different combinations?
Man, my favorite combination was the black jersey, red pants, black shoes, black helmet. And then I also liked it with the red helmet, black jersey, with the red bottoms. I like the black bottoms, red jersey, black helmets. I liked all the combinations with red and black you could imagine. I did put some yellow in there a couple of times. Pretty cool. I wonder why we don't have a yellow jersey either. That would be pretty dope.
Well, there was a color rush back in 2017. I remember that.
They never used it though, did they?
They never officially did. I don't know why. I guess Dan didn't like them or something, something like that, obviously in the fold. But I know that they took a bunch of different types. They did a photo shoot. I think Trent and Kirk took plenty of pictures in the uniforms. They were available in Madden because I know a lot like me, you probably used them as well. But I mean, just that combination of uniforms, I remember when the name first got announced, I was like, at the end of the day, whether you or not you like the name or not, because I mean, Taylor Heineke went on bus with the boys and said, I like everything but the name itself. I love the uniforms, and that was really the thing I was excited about when you sent me the beta code, was to actually sit down and look at the jerseys in game, because that's probably the first realistic take we'll get on it, other than seeing them, of course, in person playing. But we're not going to see those guys suited up till the preseason, so kind of a really, and obviously a gorgeous game. Next gen Madden really at its finest. They got the Fox graphics up. They got the Megalodon 4K camera close up like they do in real life. But as far as how the game feels to you, Does this feel like an immense upgrade over last year? I know Madden's like some people say a yearly roster update, but I personally felt a lot of difference in like the animations, the player movement. It felt like the first real next gen Madden to me so far from what I've played.
Yeah, it definitely is. Now to everyone else's credit, that's going to say it sucks. Last year's Madden beta was better than the Madden game that came out too.
That's true.
So I'm pretty sure the passing will make people so angry when they don't get it for the first week or so, or first few games anyways, that a lot of people will automatically say, oh, this is trash. Well, it's not trash. It's just now you're going to have to actually have some skill to place those tight throws, and it relies a lot less on luck. And the defense has a lot of animations like deep crossing routes. If they keep it like it is now, man, you're going to throw, like people that play Madden like you do now, try it on the new game, they'll throw 15, 16 interceptions. And that's not an exaggeration because I have thrown 16 or 17.
You saw me. I was testing the scheme plenty, and I was paying for it immensely every time I did. So it's a lot less built for casuals, in my opinion. So I like that you said that. And obviously, you have the field sense feature.
You can turn that off.
You can? I didn't know that.
Yeah, you could turn that. You could turn that off and go back to classic passing. But I tried it, and the defense is so good now on the game that there's no way you'll get a clean pass off if you don't like learn how to direct those passes yourself. If you just rely on the computer to standard out, they'll pick that up every time. Right.
Yeah. Matchups matter now more than they ever have. One of the biggest plays of the game. You took advantage of Cam Sims being one-on-one with Kendall Fuller and, made me pay for it. And, that's really something that I feel like didn't happen enough in years prior. Obviously, there's going to be some glitchy stuff. It is the beta, but I really do like the ball placement. Having Wentz under center, I can tell people who have not played the beta, is definitely a difference. You were able to kind of do some backyard bullshit with Taylor Heineke. He had that speed. He was kind of hard to get a hand on him. Wentz can still be that mobile guy, kind of like a Cam Newton, but at the end of the day, you benefit a lot more from standing there and being more of a traditional pocket passer. But having that size and that arm strength at the quarterback position is definitely going to pay dividends in Madden because I play with the Commanders a lot, obviously. I'm a head-to-head guy myself. What's your favorite game mode?
Also head-to-head. I've never even played mode once. I haven't even turned the mode on ever in my life.
It's not satisfying to me to just beat up on the CPU. I get nothing out of it.
The fucked up thing about it is, excuse my language, the messed up thing about it is that I love fantasy football, and I always pay for like the $100 version to get the game early, and I never use any of the Madden coins or whatever they call it.
You're not a MUT guy?
Thing. I never played. I've never
played MUT.
I got the All Madden edition already reserved, paid for $100 and everything. I still would never pay that mode.
Now, is it the reason that everybody else has to quit it, and that's just because it's a cash grab? You end up spending way too much money on it. I'm not too proud to admit that. What was it, Mr. Madden coin or something along those lines came along, and I spent way too much money on a Sean Taylor card. Once you get into that stuff, man, you're in there deep. It's almost like gambling. So,
I don't like the fact. I like football in general because it's a game of strategy. And I feel like if I'm playing against somebody, I want to play against the Cowboys. I know who their guys are. I know what I got to stop. You know what I'm saying? I like playing against. When I play against the Chiefs when they had Hill, I had to know that I had to play a different style of game because they have Hill. I don't want to look on the field and have like Russ, Hill, Cooper,
Michael Vick playing receiver.
Zeke.
I mean,
Donovan Mitchell out there, the basketball player. Like I don't want to go out there and play like. I don't want to do that. It doesn't seem very sim to me. Like it seems kind of arcadey. I get why. Like my son loves. I don't play my player in 2K. I play the story mode. I never go to the park, like ever.
I'm the same
way. I got
way.
literally right now on 2K. I got like 300,000 VC just for playing the game. Like I don't even like bomb or nothing like that.
Something you and I share.
I never played the park or anything like that.
Yeah, we really only thing we really switch up is playbooks. I feel like learning each team's playbook is a lot more satisfying than just kind of making your greatest hits roster. And you got all these players out of position. And then there's all the promotions and getting coins in general. I mean, MUT is just a really bad habit. And all of it just restarts calendar next year and you lose pretty much everything you've ever worked for. So there's really not much gratification for it.
I feel like
And some people say, like, why do you just run head to head all the time? Why is that fun? Like you said, to me, it's like playing chess. Like that guy knows his team, I know my team, and it's more balanced to it. That same thing with franchise mode. Like you and I have talked about possibly making a connected franchise, all Washington content creators and stuff along those lines. But you're always going to have those one or two assholes that are going to stack their team up, make all these ridiculous trades, and just ruin it for everybody. So head to head is really the only way to keep those guys in check.
That's why I said do your head-to-head tournament. Just make a bracket yourself. That would be easier for me to just make a bracket tournament. Madden used to have tournament mode, right? I feel like they had that mode a long time ago where you just make a tournament. That seems like something they should add back in.
I don't know why I don't understand it myself. And there is this like core of the fan base like you and me that just gets off on playing head to head and pretty much nothing else. Like, of course, we're going to see how franchise mode looks. That's probably the only thing I'll be interested in. But seeing some of these cards coming out with the rookies, it's just an easy way for EA to cash out. They make plenty of money off of it. Good for them. But I know some guys that are still way too into MUT. But it's glad to hear that you have another guy who never really delved into it.
I'm an old man though, so I grew up where you used to actually play the video game next to your friends. So I still kind of, it gives me that feel again where I can like talk shit to my friend next to me. Like me and my close friend Kool-Aid, we'll play like 9-10 games every night. We'll just talk smack each other. But my girlfriend has a son. He's an adult. He's like 19, and he comes over to play Madden. It's not the same feel anymore. Like when somebody's sitting right beside you, it's totally awkward.
It is extreme, especially when you're watching them. Like you don't even know what to say. Like you almost feel bad after a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, man, obviously, thank you for the beta code. It was my first time experiencing it. Since the weekend, kind of got a chance to dip my foot in the water. Like I said, it's really exciting to see what this Commanders roster looks like. Not a lot of upgrades. Obviously, a big upgrade at the quarterback position, and obviously, those two new guards. You got the new wide receiver Jahan Dotson. You got Cole Turner. I mean, just the player animations, it feels like everybody kind of has their role. I mean, there was the one play where you hit Logan Thomas in the middle of the field and he just like a bowling ball just went through everybody. So it gives you more that feel of like your guys know their role and they played it exceedingly. I mean, Logan Thomas is hard to bring on the game. So if you've not played Madden 23, get your hands on that beta code if you can. Not much longer left. Me and Dev definitely played it and enjoyed it. And I got to say, my biggest takeaway other than Wentz was that defensive line was stout. I mean, that's the most dominant I've ever seen a defensive lineman play in burgundy and gold in any Madden game I've ever played personally. And
you didn't have to select them. The computer, Allen was kicking ass, man.
Jonathan Allen is kicking ass. And, while this D-line is really stout in Madden, we hope that translates to the field in real life, obviously, because this week they got some Hall of Fame advice from former Super Bowl champion Warren Sapp. Made headlines posting he was in Ashburn working out with the defensive line. A couple quotes here from him. Says 14 years in the NFL and he wants to share with the youngins. Said you have to make the game better, and the way you make the game better is sharing the knowledge that you have. Montez Sweat, of course, calling him a yellow jacket guy. Dev, what did you make of Sapp showing up to Ashburn, help these guys out? I feel like it's going to do nothing but really pay dividends for him in the long run.
Initially, I love the idea. Actually, I still do, honestly, but because Warren Sapp has a plethora, that's the right word, a gaggle of knowledge that these younger guys, our defensive line, the oldest guy is Allen. He's been in the league, 4 years, 5 years, maybe? So I like to have a guy like Sapp come in and tell you what to do and when you're in the game. Because I think our assistant coaches, maybe they're good at maybe run stuffing, but pass rushing, we don't really have a defensive end coach out there that just, that's done it like Warren Sapp's done.
And it's no disrespect to Sam Mills because, obviously he's a very, intelligent guy. But at the end of the day, you can't tell me he knows more than Warren Sapp. I mean,
man, how many sacks in Sam Mills?
Exactly, man. I mean, and obviously people wondering why Sapp got out there. He kind of has a soft spot for Doug Williams. I think they both won their Super Bowl in the same day, just different years. And of course, Martin Mayhew was Sapp's teammate 95-96 in Tampa. Of course, like you said, Sapp, illustrious career, 100 sacks, 7-time Pro Bowler. Clarifies that he's not there to coach, which I don't think anybody was really expecting that. Said it's too many hours, but he doesn't want to die with all this knowledge. 95, he said it was a different game now, but there's still a lot of essentials that these young men need to learn. And, just the way he was talking about the defensive line just would get anybody hyped up. I mean, he looked amped up out there. It looked like he felt like he was playing again. Called these guys a group of bowling balls of butcher knives. Says he wants them to disrupt, work as a unit, because we definitely know they didn't last year. And he said the lone wolf dies. You have to operate as a pack. And, for me,
that's important.
It very important. And for me, he also focused on mindsets. You got to fortify mentally, because you saw and I saw and all Commanders fans saw last year that these guys were not working together, especially early, like right before Halloween. I mean, it was horrific. I mean, these guys were not following their assignments. Chase was out there doing too much. Yeah, I mean, you even people fighting on the sideline late in the year. So those things kind of, trailed throughout most of the season. You had these guys being cute, predicting sack totals. Sweat seems to not be doing that this season, which is definitely a good thing. But, when it comes to giving these young men who are making more than Sapp did in his first contract in the NFL, a big question, obviously, with Warren Sapp is, do you want someone like him talking to your players due to his history off the field? Obviously, 2008, 2015, he was an NFL Network analyst. Of course, he was arrested for solicitation. I'm not here to judge the guy. I do believe people can change, and I do believe that sometimes people can be framed and put in the wrong situation or be caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. But, then he's filing for bankruptcy. This was a guy that kind of got blipped out of, the NFL media circuit. And we hadn't really heard from him for some time. This was my first time really seeing him since he'd been off the NFL Network. And, I loved his analysis when he was on NFL Network. He always had really bright analysis, obviously a very defensive centric guy. And that's somebody I want in these players' ears. But of course, our organization, Dev, I don't have to explain it. The public perception, the things that follow. Were you shocked to see him out there initially? Obviously, it's been some time since all this stuff had happened, and do you feel like that's going to eventually kind of come up as a conversation as long as he's associated with the organization? It hasn't yet, but I could totally see it happening.
Well, there's a little Twitter whisper about Warren Sapp's past, but I'm like, I get it. I think that this franchise might not have been the right choice for that. Because of what this franchise goes through. But all in all, I don't think the intent was for that. And I absolutely love what Warren Sapp can bring to our young guys. And everyone, like you said, everyone makes mistakes. I'm one of those guys, just like I think you're gonna talk about Jack Del Rio and all that, but I'm one of those guys who can separate what a guy's political views are or what he has done off the field from what the knowledge I can gain from it on the field. Now, is there a limit? Are there extenuating circumstances? Hell yeah, there are definitely extenuating circumstances. But this, in my opinion, isn't one of them. I think that sports teams, as well as sports in general, are a microcosm of society. There's a certain, if I work at General Motors, man, and if I go into General Motors, I'm pretty sure someone on the line has done something they shouldn't have been doing. Nobody at work tells them they can't build engines tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I know everyone's like, hey, man, it's the NFL, though. I mean, no one goes into McDonald's and tells a fry guy, hey, man, we had like 26 massage parlors call about you today. You can't flip a burger. It never happens. So I'm not going to – I know it's peas and carrots, but I'm not going to jump all down Warren Sapp's throat for having a couple of bad moments in his life. If there are victims, I heard he had some domestic violence stuff. That's horrible. But look, man, I think obviously he's either paid his debt to society or his debt was deemed not to be paid. So I let him take care of his stuff off the field. I more care about what he gives us on the field, man.
And I really think that it's strictly ball. I think you bring him in because of, obviously his pedigree as a once, defensive player of the year in the NFL. I think back in '99, he was a guy at the defensive tackle position that was just a disruptor. I mean, he made Brett Favre's life a living hell every time he played against him. You look at Derek Brooks, you look at a lot of things this Tampa Bay defense did, and we'll get into that, of course. But as far as like
Miami.
Yeah, that as well. I mean, he comes in as a tight end. Obviously, they switch him over. He there's some great interviews out there with Warren Sapp. I mean, he's a guy who gives a lot of wisdom, and I'm sure when he gets one-on-one with these players. And another thing about it is, obviously a lot of stuff like that went on with Warren. It humbles you as well. I mean, people are allowed to make mistakes, and it's about separating the player from the person. And the player has a yellow jacket.
One thing also you can add to that being his Father's Day is that men learn just as many lessons from another man's failures as they do their successes, bro. There's a lot. The cautionary tales matter a lot to impressionable young men that are trying to walk in large footsteps like Warren Sapp's, man. They can learn a whole lot. So I don't know if he's talked about any of his situations, whether minor or major, to any of these players. But if he spoke to one of them and said, hey, look, man, stay away from this and start doing this, that is worth him being there alone itself.
Yeah, I mean, he talks a little bit about, the difference in locker rooms. I mean, guys in those locker rooms in the 90s were not doing what the guys in 2022 are doing. I mean, the guys now are entrepreneurs. They're starting businesses. And, in the 90s, man, it was a completely different environment. These guys just weren't as smart with their money. They're worried about getting a chain. Like, they're like, guys now, they're networking. They're doing they're worried about life after football during the first year of their rookie contract. And like you said, the thing that, when it comes to the mistakes is, you can give knowledge in your failure to these guys and tell them what not to do. And I'm really glad you put a spotlight on that. So for me, it's about separating the player from the person, and the person, Warren Sapp, could have learned a lot in this time. It's 2022, man, this year's gone by. And you think that these shows would be bringing him on if there wasn't some type of progress, if there wasn't some time. I mean, he went on the Rich Eisen show. If Warren Sapp wasn't to be trusted with a live mic, I mean, this guy was a phenomenal analyst at his time in the NFL Network. I mean,
we've seen it before. Mike Tyson's a perfect example of it, man. That guy's like the,
exactly. That's a great example. And it's funny because every time I was talking to somebody about this before we recorded, Tyson's the first person that they bring up. He did his time. He learned from his mistakes. And, as far as like a lot of these criminal charges, if you do your homework on it and look into them, a lot of them didn't really lead to much. So I think we need to do better as just a country, as a culture, of learning that there's a difference between a conviction and other things. I think we need to stop basing everything off, face value. It's easy to look at all these things and judge Warren Sapp, but if there's one thing that is undeniable, it's the fact that he was one of the most disruptive forces on the defensive line of all time in NFL history. So having that guy with this defensive line that they have certainly invested in, you look at Phil Mathis, Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne, that's a guy you want in these guys' ears. And, he's done this with other organizations as well. He's doing it with Tampa Bay. I know he had done it in San Francisco while Mayhew was there as well. So I think people just need to go ahead and put that stuff to bed. I don't think Warren Sapp's going to go in there and try to step on anybody's toes or tell these guys things that they don't want to hear. And I definitely don't think Ron Rivera would have greenlit it either. So I do know for a fact that he was in the meeting room. He did address the team, and he was asked about the JDR controversy. And I really liked what he had to say about it. He said there are two things that you keep out of a locker room. That's politics and religion. And he said there was no dust up with JDR. And that's certainly something that I like to hear from Warren Sapp, because there's definitely two things that I would like to keep away, as far away from this locker room as possible, due to their national perception as well. Right. And he, like I said, had glowing endorsements for all these guys on the defensive line, especially Chase Young. I mean, he can relate to Chase Young, coming home to, losing culture, losing city. I think when Warren Sapp went to Tampa, it was 11 straight double-digit loss seasons. And, Chase said, he gave him Warren some really encouraging words, said he's going to come back stronger than ever. We certainly hope so. And think back, right? Warren Sapp's a big cat, 6'2", 300. Payne, 6'2", 300. Mathis, 6'4", 312. And if there's somebody in particular that I felt like...
Mathis is 312? Wow, I didn't even...
Yeah, I know. I kind of did a little bit more of a dive, kind of compared these guys' body of work and kind of their physical frame. That I didn't know he was 312 either. That definitely threw me off as well. You and I had the same reaction. But the guy that, and I expected this, for Sapp to really glow up about the most, of course, was Jonathan Allen. Go back and think about draft day for Sapp. Him and Allen both slid. They were supposed to go a lot higher than they did. And they both ended up being very disruptive forces for their defenses that they were drafted to. Said that Allen's going to be more of a two-gap guy this year. Said JDR is also going to use him a lot more on the edge to kind of penetrate. I love the idea of Jonathan Allen working one-on-one with Warren Sapp, because I really do feel like, last year was a big year for Jonathan Allen. But, what are your expectations for Jonathan Allen in 2022? Obviously, last year was a pro year for him.
I think Jonathan Allen should have been All-Pro last year.
Agreed.
I think he got shafted. I think there's only one defensive tackle that had a better year than him, and his name was Aaron Donald. He didn't have a better year than him at defensive tackle. He had a better year than him at defensive end, obviously. That's where most of his stats went, at defensive end, for Aaron Donald, if you look him up. But Aaron Donald's, obviously, he's a better tackle. He's the greatest to ever play it. But that tells you how big of a deal that Allen was last year. I think this year we're going to see the same. I'd love to see Payne pick it up in the contract year, man. I like to see him make the decision difficult for Ron. I like to see our bookend defensive ends play all 16, 17 weeks of the year. But we'll see, man. Maybe they can get that rub. You know that what I'm talking about, like how Canelo got when he got beat up by Mayweather. All of a sudden got great after that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know what Mayweather beat the greatness into Canelo, but that seems to be what happened. I'm hoping that Sapp came into our training camp and beat some rub on those defensive linemen, man. They rub against him to get some of what he had. Obviously not the Chargers, but everything else.
Yeah. And I mean, you think about it, they say that the game slows down a lot more. You have no idea what kind of tips and techniques Sapp could be teaching Allen to just take a step up and even more, make his game go up even more than it did last year. I'm expecting a lot of the same from Jonathan Allen this year as well. And I think Jonathan Allen was a guy who, you compare, he's in the same breath as far as dominance is concerned as to a guy like Aaron Donald. Obviously, Aaron Donald's a unicorn. I'm not saying Jonathan Allen is Aaron Donald good, but that's really the only guy that can come to my mind initially that has the same level of impact that Jonathan Allen did. I mean, this guy's earning respect around the league, and he may not be a household name now, but if we get 2-3 more seasons of this out of Jonathan Allen, you're talking one of the best defenders in the NFL. And you go back to 97 with the Bucs, the Tampa 2, baby. I mean, same, 4-3 that the Commanders run. You got 4 guys rushing, everybody else running free, but it all really relies on D-line disruption. I mean, that's absolutely essential. And, Sapp's teammate John Lynch said that the best defenses start in the middle, and we have first-round talent across the board. I mean, obviously, we're tired of talking about it, right? We want these guys to perform, but it takes some time for those things to click, like it did for the Buccaneers. He said they were forged by fire. They all demanded excellence out of each other, and hopefully, iron can sharpen iron here as well, as far as Sapp helping out these guys up front on the defensive line. But, the Buccaneers, when Sapp first arrived, their head coach was one Tony Dungy, obviously a legendary coach, kind of an authoritarian disciplinarian, a lot like Coach Rivera. Never really amounted to a championship for Sapp in Tampa Bay until John Gruden came along. And, Gruden really emphasized offense along, being complementary to the defense. Expected the defense, if you guys are so effing good, we need you to score some points too. And, you look at Washington last year, only 2 defensive touchdowns. Sapp and teammates felt like their offense just never quite got up to par. And that's definitely something that we have seen out of Rivera's, teams since he's been here in Washington. How much of that is his fault? Obviously that's up for you to decide. But I think complementary football has definitely been an issue for the Commanders, especially last season. Do you think it'll be as much of an issue this year with Carson Wentz under center? Do you feel like we're going to be seeing a little bit more complementary football, or do you feel like they're going to still be relying on the defense a little bit more than they should?
If Carson Wentz gets us about 1 more touchdown a game average, if we can get 5 to 7 more points a game average, it was worth it. Because whether you like Heineke or not, those 7 games we won, Heineke was probably largely responsible for about 5 of them.
Yes.
And whether you like it or not. And then whenever we went on that streak, the whole bottom fell out with COVID and injuries. Like no one would have won with that. As we saw, example is the Ravens. They were 3 or 4 games up in the division with 6 games left and lost every one of them but one. Because Lamar Jackson went out. Sometimes if you're missing Chase Young, Landon Collins, who at that point was our best player at the very end during that streak, he was our best guy.
You're right.
And whether you like him or not, during that streak, he was our best guy, in my opinion. You got that guy. Then I think Jack went out a little bit in and out of the lineup. Juice went out of the lineup.
The defense was dominant after Halloween. We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
Dominant.
Yeah, and you hate to see that kind of stuff happening. But I think not just the addition of Wentz, if he can be just a consistent, like he was with for the most part with the Colts, I think Curtis Samuel is going to be huge if he's healthy. And I know everybody hates Curtis Samuel, but he's only missed 5 games his whole career until last year. It's not like he's technically an injury-prone guy.
I'm sure Steve told you about OTAs. He was there, got to catch up with him. Yeah. He told you, I'm sure he got into you about how Curtis Samuel was being utilized when we weren't allowed to record. I mean, this guy was coming out of the backfield. This guy was being used in all different kinds of ways. He looks fast. He looks explosive. Everybody's like Jahan Dotson. I get it. But a guy like Curtis Samuel is really going to reap out of what this wide receiving core has.
I think he's going to be big. And that's that's unfortunately what I think.
What is going on, everybody? Just want to take one moment away from the action to give you guys a word from our sponsor, Manscaped. They are the leaders in the below the waist grooming game. Join 4 million. That's right, 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. You know, these men, they strive for gold in their lives every day, whether it be medals, watches, gold, everything. You know, they have the confidence of an eagle. You know, they giggle in the face of danger. They're big, they're hairless, they're winning machines. And when they unzip their pants, what do they see, you might ask? Platinum. And platinum is what we're going to talk about today because Manscaped would like to introduce you to their biggest and best ultimate hygiene bundle yet, the Platinum Package 4.0. Trust Manscaped with the whole shebang with the biggest bundle that they have ever offered. The Platinum Package 4.0 is the one-stop shop for the man that deserves it all. It is designed to allow you to fully align your entire hygiene routine with these elite Manscaped products. You know, this is the entire hygiene routine covered here, kind of a greatest hit list for the Manscaped products, if you will. So inside the Platinum Package 4.0 is a lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. You know, one of the most popular products. And, you know, people always ask, you know, Parker, do you get any nicks? Do you get any snags? They won't let me say it works 100% of the time. Can't guarantee that for anything, but 99.9% of the time, you're not getting any nicks, any snags, no accidents with the lawnmower 4.0 trimmer with the advanced skin safe technology. It's also waterproof. It has a 400K light, and it is also rechargeable. You have the same exact technology as well for the Weed Whacker ear, hair, and nose trimmer that also comes inside the Platinum Package 4.0. You also have the Ultra Premium Body Wash and the Ultra Premium 2-in-1 shampoo plus conditioner. They have you feeling fresh. They have you feeling hydrated. You know, I love these products. I got them sometime back from Manscaped. And, you know, it's really hard to go back to your average, you know, 32-in-1, you know, shampoo, hair conditioner, body wash and stuff after you use these Manscaped products. You know, you really don't want to go back. You also get the aluminum free ultra premium deodorant as well, which is a cologne quality scent for your balls on the go. So it's summer, guys. You know, they stink. And, you know, if that isn't enough for you, you got the Crop Preserver ball deodorant, the Crop Reviver ball toner, which can also solve that issue for you. And, you know, once they touch your sack, like I said, you're never going back. And, you know, as well, inside of the Platinum Package 4.0, you get 2 free gifts. You get the Shed Travel Bag, which I keep it in my bathroom. It's easy to throw it in your book bag as well. So you can use all these products on the go. And then, of course, my favorite, the fan favorite, something that Sideline listeners get a lot actually, is the Manscaped Boxer Briefs. They're really cheap. You can find them on the Manscaped official website. You know, I got about over 10 pairs of them now. I literally don't wear any other underwear. You know, a lot of guys I work with play, you know, ball when they get off work. And, you know, a lot of them wear these and they say that, you know, they're all terrain, they're all purpose, they're dry. They're just absolutely perfect. I wear them all the time. So the Platinum Package 4.0, guys, it covers all the bases from head to toe. So make sure you take command of the below the waist grooming game in your life today, Sidelines Washington listeners, and use our exclusive offer with Manscaped and get 20% off plus free shipping with promo code SSNWFT at manscaped.com. And like I said earlier, this is all items, guys. This is not just the Platinum Package 4.0, even though I heavily recommend it because you have all the items that you need for the full Manscaped experience there. But like I said, all items on the Manscaped store are applicable with this promo code SSNWFT. So that is 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com using promo code SSNWFT. Get yourself a platinum package for your platinum package. Your balls will thank you. Now back to the action.
I think I don't want to get ahead of you here, but I think maybe that's the thing that's going to hurt McLaurin's case a little bit for 25 plus mil is that, man, I want to give you this money, but you give him $25 million to a dude that might do less statistically, even though we're better.
And that's the thing is, everybody's like, pay Terry, Dev, but at the same time, you have everything going on with this wide receiving class 2019. Obviously, we got a video dropping on the channel. Make sure you guys check that out. We break down Terry's numbers, compare them with a guy like A.J. Brown's, and talk about what would you think his contract should be. You think 25 is enough for him. You think A.J. Brown is definitely better. No, I said Terry should get north of 25.
I think 25 is way too much. I would not be mad if Washington paid him 25, but I just think you can't be upset if Washington decides, hey man, I could probably franchise him about 3 times for less than 25 a year.
See, okay.
So why wouldn't you do it? Like, I understand everybody say, well, he's a leader of your team. You don't want to make this a thing. But it's a business, man. And you tell me you want to pay a dude $25 million to do things that you look at every receiver in the league outside of Brown paid $25 million or more. They're all elite. They all have Pro Bowls under their belt, and you can say whatever you want about Pro Bowls not meaning crap. Pro Bowlers do mean that you are respected as one of the best in the league at your position. And if you say those things are frivolous and meaningless, how come he hasn't got any of them? How come he hasn't gotten one? You know, and I do think he's as talented as any of these other receivers making this money, but he hasn't done it. Not saying he won't do it, but he hasn't done it. And $25 million is a lot of money when you start to pay Sweat, Curl coming up, maybe even Payne. And then about 3 more years from now, Young's going to be ready to get paid 2 or 3 years from now. So it's got to think,
my thing is if you sit here and think about it, right, I almost feel bad for Terry because I feel like if Terry had gone to Tennessee in 2019, you know, Mariota went down in week 6. They bring in Ryan Tannehill. He's been the starter ever since. You have stability in Tennessee way more than you have here. I said last week it was 10. Terry had played with 10 different quarterbacks. I was incorrect. He's played with 7 different quarterbacks. That's still a lot. You know, they asked Hines Ward about it. You know, he said until Ben really got there, he wasn't able to actually like play to his potential. And I think the fact that Terry McLaurin, like you and I talked about, has led the NFL in contested catches for the last 2 years. I mean, this guy's an automatic first down. And, you know, outside of his concussion he got at the end of 2019, he's been there for the Commanders every step of the way. And think about all the plays, man, that they just left out on the field last year. You know, I was like you, Dev. Coming into it last year, I was like, you know, I really don't feel like Terry's worth what he's asking for because you knew he was going to ask for this. Obviously went up a little bit because of the Christian Kirk deal. Nobody expected or anticipated that. Then, you know, A.J. Brown, I think they guaranteed almost $60 million for him. So, I mean, you know, there's a lot of different factors going into this. But at the same exact time, the problem is with the tagging is that it's all about the public. You're not taking care of your guys. I mean, I talked about that last week. You know, we're known as those people not being known as the franchise that doesn't take care of their guys. And Terry McLaurin easily has been the only consistent offensive player for this organization since 2019. And it doesn't matter who's a quarterback. I mean, really, think about maybe how it would have affected A.J. Brown had he had a different quarterback. Honestly, I have my reservations about Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. No disrespect to Jalen Hurts.
My only question about that is, though, I see what you're saying. Like, obviously his numbers would have been a little, if not a lot better, with a more competent quarterback. I completely agree. Or even coach in some cases. I get it. Man, I saw the kid. What's the guy that plays for Arizona? Hopkins. I saw him in Texas with bum quarterbacks. I saw Diggs with Case Keenum in the Vikings. You know, I seen Larry Fitzgerald with all kinds of crap in Arizona before he got Kurt Warner. Like, quarterbacks, receivers that are elite are elite. It doesn't really matter who their quarterback is. OBJ was elite with Eli Manning. And you can say Eli Manning is definitely going to Hall of Fame. Eli Manning's going to Hall of Fame because he won 2 Super Bowls. Now, if Eli Manning hadn't won 2 Super Bowls, he would have got benched. That's how bad Eli Manning really was. He's going to be the worst Hall of Fame quarterback in the NFL.
Agreed. But I mean,
when he goes.
Look at Hopkins' first 2 years. Yeah. First year with Houston, 52 receptions, 802 yards, 2 touchdowns. Second year, 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns. We're right. 2 years in.
Who was that quarterback the second year?
But it scrubs either way. It scrubs for Washington and it scrubs for him. I mean, really.
But McLaurin ain't putting up 1,210, dog.
He's not, but I'm just saying.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Those top 4 receivers, McLaurin's not touching them. He is not.
But if he's making $25 million, he's going to be touching them exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. So you're going to pay him like he's DeAndre Hopkins. So I'm going to have to expect DeAndre Hopkins numbers. Now, if you look at what they have, McLaurin, Samuels, Dotson, what's the guy they got last year? De'Ami Brown. You still got Thomas. The 2 running backs that can catch the ball in the backfield, Gibson and the other guy. There's a lot of balls that be thrown around. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. But that's a good problem to have. And
but is it a good problem to have to pay $25 million for a guy that probably is going to catch 20 less passes?
Now, I feel like they're going to restructure Wentz's contract. I think if even he has a bad season, they're going to restructure. I see Wentz being here for more than 1 season, unfortunately. I think there's going to be a lot of moving pieces. I think they're just going to have to let some guys go. And I think Deron Payne's going to be one of the first ones. I can understand why you maybe think that we are devaluing him a little bit. I certainly agree with that. But I'm not comparing Terry McLaurin to Cooper Kupp. I'm not comparing to Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, none of those guys. Those top four are in their own league.
You have to if they get the same price of money.
But if Christian Kirk can get a $72 million contract, man, I don't see why Terry can't.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
It's only $18 million a year. I would gladly give McLaurin Christian Kirk's contract if that's what he wants.
But you and I both know that he's going to take that as disrespect.
Right. I mean, I would too. And now on the flip side of it, here's where it gets interesting. If I was McLaurin, I asked for all that, dog. I asked for $26 million. Dude, what? He's going to be 28 at the end of when the contract is up. He will be 28 when his first contract is up, bro. To compare this, Diggs is on his third contract at that age. Yeah. Just to put that in perspective, right? And he's not better than Diggs. Another guy's getting 25 around there, $1 million a year. But back to it, McLaurin is going to be 28 and his contract's up, man. He has to nail this contract because his next contract is going to be like 32, 33.
So Logan said you really get one time. You get one chance to get paid.
Especially him. So I'm not mad at McLaurin. If you get $25 million, man, you have finessed the system. And you honestly, to be real honest, skill-wise, he probably does deserve it. If you look at the league.
That's what I'm saying. And I was a Terry Downer.
But the problem with it is, though, it's like if you're Washington, how can you blame him for not paying him? It's $25 million for a guy who's never been to a Pro Bowl. Even if Terry makes $22.5 million, he'd be the worst $22.5 million receiver in the league statistically.
Dev, I'm telling you right now.
I don't know why they just don't.
This is the last thing I'll say about it. That Terry's camp is asking north of 25. And I don't think they're going to come off of it.
I would. And I wouldn't either. I would franchise me this year, franchise me next year. I'll get the $25 million in third year. Somebody's going to give it to me, bro. That's what I would do if I were him. I would Kirk Cousins the F out of the system, bro. I would do it.
But another thing too, I said I was going to shut the hell up. But another thing too, Dev, is that Terry's deal could be seen as low end compared to what they could possibly pay DK and Debo.
And I wonder that too. Is he waiting? Because they're the same agent. They are the same agent.
Exactly. They're all in cahoots, man.
Right. They're all the same agent. So whichever one gets paid, if I'm Washington, that's another thing. Do you just give him 25 now? Like, hey, take 25 because next week it could be 27. Like
exactly. So if
DK gets 27, if you're McLaurin, guess what? I need 27.
I give Terry that money up. I give Terry north of 25, and then I restructure if it needs to be down the line. I mean, the money's not going anywhere else. I mean, you and I both agree that Deron Payne's a guy you can kind of gloss over a little bit, but Montez Sweat's deal is coming up, and that's a guy that you do not want to let leave the building. He is not expendable. We cannot let guys like him, Preston Smith, leave the building. We got to keep these guys together and keep this pass rush consistent. So. But no, very interesting conversation there about Terry McLaurin because, I mean, this market certainly is a huge factor. But, we were talking a little bit about, Coach Rivera and, kind of the parallels with him and Tony Dungy. Obviously, Coach Rivera this week making some headlines, fined $100,000, 2 OTA sessions taken away next year. So they'll have 8 instead of 10. Extensive contact during drills. The Bears and the Cowboys also got hit for this too. $100K on the dot. Another member of this coaching staff just got hit for $100K. I wonder who that is. Wonder if he had anything to do with this. You think that's a coincidence, Dev?
No, but I bet he was laughing when he heard about it. By the way, I'm cool with the $100,000 fine on Ron Rivera because the Cowboys got the same penalty and they went from last place defense basically to number 2.
You know what's the biggest takeaway out of this? So the biggest takeaway, obviously, we're actually practicing.
Right. I mean, if we wanted a bunch of pansies, they would have named us the Washington Dr. Quinn Medicine Women. You know what I'm saying?
Are we gonna do the Redskins? Because I mean, that's all Jay Gruden did was let these guys fucking walk around like they were in college. I mean, it was just ridiculous.
And give them nurples, purple nurples. But all respect it. Hey, I'm just like I want to say this because I say on every podcast. Jay Gruden is a legend to me, bro. I'm a Louisville guy. He was the Louisville's best quarterback of all time until Lamar Jackson came, bro. He was like a legend. Like that dude was awesome. If you had seen him play, he played with Howard Schmellenberger, Miami's coach. Like before he went to Miami, Louisville had him. And like that dude, I don't think he lost. Like,
Kev,
I don't understand how Jay Gruden didn't go to the league. I don't know if he
your
was
opinion
good.
means more to me than his, to be frank.
Man, I'm just telling you, Jay Gruden was a dog at quarterback in college, man. Go look it up on YouTube. Jay Gruden, University of Louisville, man. That mother effer was a baller,
There's a
bro.
lot of guys that were good in college. He's not
Man,
the
you
only
wouldn't
one.
have believed it. And then, like, he was such a cool guy, man. He was like Brett Favre before Brett Favre was Brett Favre, man. He was just a cool guy, like you've seen him. You would have never thought.
Sometimes when I'm getting sad and we don't even score 20 points, I'll go watch 2015 highlights. It was nice. It was nice, right? I agree with you. I mean, I feel like he has some pedigree, but I do also feel like sometimes his fan base takes things that he says a little bit too seriously, and he is on the radio a little bit more than I feel like he should be. But
by the way, Jay Gruden is excellent at radio, bro. You tripping?
No, he's excellent. But as far as like acting like his word is gospel, look, I'm not sitting here saying Rivera's word is gospel. I'm not saying Del Rio's is, because apparently these guys think Benjamin St. Juste can play the slot. So obviously, before we get into this, make sure you guys check out our YouTube channel. Obviously below, make sure you guys subscribe as well. Got a video coming out this week about Benjamin St. Juste moving to the slot. Want to get your thoughts on that, Dev? Obviously, plug the video, but at the same time, Benjamin St. Juste, guys like 6'4", 6'1", kind of a big rangy cat. I don't understand the decision to move a guy like him into the slot, especially you look around the league, like at Kenny Moore, Mike Hilton. These guys are averaging around 5'8" to 5'10". These are nimble guys who, won't get caught in the double move. Benji played great on the outside, great perimeter corner, but he's somebody that's going to get beat inside. I don't know about you. I want to hear your thoughts on that.
I feel like this is another one of those Apke mistakes, man.
Yeah.
I feel like, remember Apke, he's doing so well in practice, they're going to start him at free safety, and it lasted for like 3 games.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe, because, I think the myth of St. Juste is better than St. Juste was. If you go, I remember specifically, I was like, man, get this dude out the game. He's killing me, man. Like, St. Juste was like, when he got hurt, we got better. When him and Boston got hurt, we got better, bro. And
on top of that,
everybody look. I'm pretty sure at, 22, 23 years old? I'm sure at 23 years old, in shorts and shorts and helmet, I could look good in practice, bro.
Dev, 3 concussions last year, too. Man. Let's go ahead and just not downplay that. He didn't play any special team any defensive snaps, I think, after week. It was kind of late in the season, but I mean, he wasn't even on defense when he got his 3rd concussion. So, I mean, this is a guy that might be out of the league before you know it. But obviously, they worked with him a lot at the Senior Bowl one-on-one. I think he played in Minnesota. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. But I mean, I like the athletic profile with him, but moving him inside, these guys are gonna.
I think he's one of those guys that's more quick than fast. And if you put him in slot with his range, it might be able to, on 3rd and short, when you think it could be a passing down, it might pay some dividend for you. I would hate to see him be on a play that's elongated and he out to run with someone. I'm not sure on how fast he is. What was his 40 time?
It wasn't very fast. I know his RAS score wasn't great either.
4.5 or 4.6 guy or something. I don't think it was fast. I think he's a zone kind of cover guy, I think. But
he's more of a press big body boundary corner.
Like a Sherman.
4.51 actually.
Yeah, see 4.5. That's, I mean, like I said, that's not slow by any means, but it's not
fast.
Every corner on our team is faster than him.
And yeah, exactly. So I mean,
corner on our team is faster.
You have Benji coming back from injury. Obviously, check out our YouTube channel. Got a video dropping on that. Do a really big deep dive into it.
I thought Butler was playing slot when he drafted him. I thought that's what he said it was his job.
See, nobody knows what they're doing with Butler. People have been at camp. People have been at OTAs. People have been in camp. I mean, nobody really knows what the plan is with him. He hasn't even really been doing any of the things that really were rumored to, be his role when he came along. I think Derek Force is kind of in the way with that. But, you got a lot of guys returning this year. Chase Young, who's officially – looks like it's confirmed that he is starting the season on the physically unable to perform list, the PUP list. He can do everything but practice leading up into the season. I think it's 6 weeks on the PUP or 7 weeks when the season starts. Then I think he can return to IR. But if you do return to practice, you have 3 weeks to either be, on the active roster or you go back to IR. This is something that I really wanted them to do with Curtis Samuel last year because I felt like, you had all those issues initially that were really holding him back and he didn't really get a chance to recover like he should because of our lack of weapons. But is this bad news for Chase Young, expecting him to come back and be a contributor on this defense?
No, I think that you should expect someone to come off that kind of injury to maybe be on the PUP for 3 weeks or however long it takes, whatever that rules again.
Yeah.
I don't want another all in for week 1 RG3 case scenario with the I don't want that. I don't want that crap again, man. Just when you're right, you're right. When you're wrong, you're wrong. I think that maybe they can spare his legs by making him a situational pass rusher for the first quarter of the season, maybe 4 or 5 weeks, get him acclimated back to the speed, and then give him back to his full, snaps duty or whatever. But I think he's in the same boat as a guy like Thomas is, who's probably going to start the year on a snap count or on pup. I wouldn't surprise.
And I feel like this defensive line can kind of keep at bay while he is recovering if he were to kind of miss first chunk of the season, a lot like Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas is a really good comparison there. But we're going to get a look at all these guys, right? Because training camp has been officially announced, and the rumors were true. No return to Richmond, unfortunately. But July 27th through August 18th, they're having a lottery for all the fans for those dates. And then, of course, the open practice at FedEx Field August 6th. That's kind of like their Friday night football thing they did last year. 6:45 p.m. to 9 p.m. You can get there as early as 4:30. Then have autographs from players, alumni, give the marching band, the entertainment team. Dev, I kind of saw this on the horizon. I kind of knew they weren't going to come back to Richmond some time ago. Obviously not going to confirm anything because it was speculation, but now things have been confirmed. No return to Richmond for the Commanders. All about money for them. What do you make of the news of them staying in Ashburn for training camp for this season?
Well, Steve asked me the same thing. It's like, I live in Kentucky. I don't care. They was like, what do you think about if the team moves here and there? Like, I looked on Google Maps, same 10, 11-hour travel for me. You know what I'm saying? I don't care where they have it at. They can have that camp on the moon for all I care, honestly. I really don't say so.
I mean, look, I get it. I guess I should be asking myself this question because obviously I'm only an hour away from Richmond, but the drive to Ashburn is about the same drive to FedEx for me. So, I mean, it's really not all that crazy for me. Is the
parking or the traffic crazy for you?
The traffic isn't. Like within a couple miles, it's pretty bad. I will say that.
Where are you hoping they put the stadium at?
I'm not gonna lie to you. All the things I've heard, Michael Phillips and a bunch of other people say, they're talking about keeping it at FedEx. My heart wants Virginia. I'm starting to warm up to the idea of improving FedEx, but obviously I want to stay in Virginia. It's a lot better for me. And I love all these people in Maryland, Northern Virginia, just boohooing and crying about it too. So I'd love to see them, cry. And they're like, well, it's not our fault you live in bumfuck Egypt. Well, at the same time, dude, I wasn't bitching about driving to games. If it was 11 hours, I'd be in the same boat as you, but it's about 3.5 for me. So
I don't like going to football games. I prefer watching them on TV. I like going to basketball games and baseball games.
Oh my God.
I don't like football games. Even college, I'd rather just watch them at home.
People aren't there. People are not at college games to watch football. They're to get fucked up. Everybody knows that. Not to slander college football, but I mean, training camp to Ashburn. We all saw this coming, people. If you didn't, you really aren't in the loop. I'll tell you that much. But Dev, that is all the time we have today here on the Sidelines Washington podcast. Obviously, we're going to close out with our interview with Redskins legend, linebacker Ken Harvey. Obviously, man, all-timer, man. Really cool to talk to him. Told me I looked swole. I appreciated that. I blushed a little bit. There it is. Close out the show, baby. We got the black jersey here on the show. Let's see it. What you got? Is it and it's an Allen jersey. Oh man. What's on the inside of the collar? One mission. Why isn't that the hashtag?
I don't know.
That thing's clean. You didn't get that knockoff eBay one me and Reed were talking about last week.
Maybe I did.
I know. No, it's not. I see the label. I know it's not fake. That thing is clean, man. I'm going to make that 11-hour drive and snag that thing. It looks so good. But yeah, man. Okay. All right. We got a little bit of an exclusive here, seeing the black jersey on the show. But, Dev, it was obviously a blast playing Madden with you, man. Finally get my first loss by the hands of you. But tell them where they can find your podcast and you on social media. Of course, man, you're a great
we're on Spotify. Command This podcast on Tuesdays and Thursdays. On Tuesdays, we do a top 5, which we're hoping to get you on one of those.
Let's do it.
Yeah, for facts. And you can find me on Twitter at hello, I am Dev. Hello, my name is Dev or something like that. I don't know what I am.
The notorious D is what I thought it was.
I'm going to look live. This is live TV or whatever it's called. We'll see what my Twitter handle is. I used to know it, but hello, I'm underscore Dev.
And I'm just, for some reason, I'm just now seeing the header. You got the shoes too, man. Let's see the shoes.
I made those. Oh, they're not back here in my room. I'll text you. I'll text you a picture of them.
Those are clean.
I actually made those, man. They were all white Jordans. I airbrushed them. So.
Well, Dev, definitely won't be the last time on the show here, brother. Obviously, Sidelines Washington listeners, if you're still here, we thank you. Before we go out, of course, I'm the head of NFL operations here. If you were interested in covering your favorite team from one of the fastest rising sports networks, sitting at 124K now, make sure you guys email me, sidelines_WFT. We'll get you a part of the team. We always need contributors, guys. The SSN website's up and running. Got a lot of great articles there as well. If you want to find all things Sidelines Washington, like I said, the podcast, everything, social media, click the description below. You can find us everywhere. But now we go to our sit-down interview with Redskins legend, linebacker Ken Harvey. See you guys next week. Peace. Joining me now is a writer and, more importantly, one of the greatest Redskins of all time, one of the 80 greatest Redskins of all time, Washington legend, Mr. Ken Harvey. Mr. Harvey, how are you doing, sir?
Doing well. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
100%, man. I'm liking the jacket. That's a hot commodity item you got there, sir. Rocking the ball cap as well. Obviously, during your playing history, you were a first-round draft pick, 12th overall. Obviously, a lot of expectations come with that, outside linebacker like yourself. What did you like from Jamin Davis's game last year? Obviously, they're moving him around a bunch, trying to figure out what his identity is as a linebacker in the National Football League, only really having 1 year of college football experience. What do you think what went wrong, and what are some things that Commanders fans can look forward to with a guy like Jamin Davis in 2022?
Well, okay, so I always say that there are three things that make a guy a great player, right? You can have natural ability, natural talent, you can be super smart, or you can have a lot of heart. And I think what you want to look at is if a guy doesn't know, because I don't know if he knew everything that he was supposed to do, you want to see that he doesn't give up, that he keeps hustling, and that he uses his athletic ability. Well, he's an athlete. He may not have known all the plays to be in the right position, but then you want to judge and say, will he give up on the play? Even though he's in the wrong position, are you seeing him chasing down the field? Are you seeing him trying to make up for his mistake? I think we saw some of that in him. And so as the year progressed, he got a little bit better. Once he got comfortable with something, that's when you start judging if this is a good player. And I think we saw enough of that to say this is a good player. He just has to get comfortable with the team and with the scheme. And because it's not a turnover in coaches, I think he'll be that much more of a better player, especially with the type of format that the way the game is now. You got these fast quarterbacks that can run all over the place. You want fast linebackers that can adjust. And I think we saw a lot of that.
Of course, he does have a lot of responsibility, and that's something that you noted with him being a middle linebacker at Mike. You moving him to the outside, obviously you have a lot of experience at the position yourself. Us fans can talk all we want, but I definitely respect a lot more the opinion of a former player like yourself to talk about the responsibility that comes with playing linebacker in the next position.
Well, I was just going to say, so the difference is like inside and outside. Outside, you can use your speed, your natural ability. You can chase things down. You can use your athletic ability. But you don't have everything coming at you all at once. Sometimes your speed is a detriment because you want to get there too quick, and you get the wrong read, and all of a sudden it's a big hole, and it opens up everything. So I think a lot of it is just trying to adjust who you are and what you are. And sometimes that adjustment you can't do it. You're not a guy who can adjust from turning your speed on and off and doing something like that. They tried to have me a middle linebacker one time. I got destroyed. So I think, that there's a big thing, and then you got a bunch of different reads that are different than as an outside. You're reading the tackles, you're reading the guard, you're reading the alignments. That's something that practice over time you get used to. It's hard to get an adjustment right off the fly.
100%. You can't run before you catch the ball, and that's on both sides of the ball, really. So, obviously, Jamin, a very explosive athlete. And, like I said, linebacker is a very tough position, people, and this is one of the 80th greatest Redskins of all time. Here saying this, Mr. Harvey. One last one for you. Obviously, you're working on a book. You got a lot of stuff upcoming. Can you tell the Sidelines Washington listeners just some things they can look forward to with yourself in the future?
Well, with me, I do have some books coming out. I have a new one coming out next month. My life story. This is my journey up into the NFL. I'm working on a movie script and just trying to do some good in the community. I work with a nonprofit right now, and we're trying to just plant good seeds. It's called Touching Heart, but we're trying to plant good seeds and change the world.
100%, man. That's what it's all about. Appreciate for all you give to the community. Appreciate you for your time here today on Sidelines Washington Podcast, man.